Hey guys, in this video we're doing a reaction video, so we're going to go through this. It came up on my feed. I thought it was an interesting title, The World's Shortest Weight Loss Course. Big page, so 173,000. We want to see if obviously the information they're putting out is accurate. And this is coming from a weight loss coach who's been doing this for over 15 years, or close to 15 years. And I'll give you my opinions based on the amount of evidence that I am aware of in the industry. So, get stuck straight into it. Let's go.
Most weight loss advice is wrong. Cut carbs? Wrong. Fasted cardio? Wrong. Spot reduction? Definitely wrong. Here's the truth. There are only 3 stages to losing weight. Get these right and you'll never need another diet again. Stage 1, the foundation. Step 1, eat in a 15% calorie deficit with 18% of your calories coming from protein.
Do not agree with this, and I don't know where these numbers are coming from. So, firstly, let's cover the total calories consumed. 15% can be a good starting number. For most, arguably, this is probably going to be too small, especially if you're coming from a position of being overweight and or obese. So, the amount of body fat that you have will dictate how low you can go in calories. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you have to diet on 1,000 calories a day. And for most people, eating too little too soon potentially can just set you up for a rebound. But I do believe knowledge is power, right? And just knowing what your body's capable of is important, so you can make informed decisions for yourself in terms of how aggressive you can go with your deficit. And let's have a look. All right, so this is something I explain to my clients, and this is basically a way to figure out how aggressive you can go with your deficit if you want to lose weight faster. So if you're currently in a position where you're obese, arguably it is better for you to go more aggressive if you can stick to it and get the fat off faster, because you end up in a healthier position sooner. So if you're morbidly obese, and I said to you, just eat in a 15% deficit per day, your maintenance is like 3,500. It's not much. Like, you still get to eat like 3,000-ish calories per day. And the weight loss is still going to be slow. Alright? If you're obese, you can technically eat a protein-sparing modified fast diet, which is basically essential proteins and essential nutrients, and just get fat off 1-2 kilos per week, right? Is it sustainable? No, and it's not meant to be sustainable. But your deficit scales based on how much body fat you have, because the more body fat you have, the more your body's willing to give up that body fat and use it as a fuel source. It'll dump that fat into your blood so you can use it as an energy source, right? So even if you're overweight, not even obese, but if you're overweight, the optimal, the best deficit range is going to be somewhere between a 30 to a 50% deficit. Anything slower than this is too slow. If your average body weight, for most people, getting somewhere to like that 15 to 20%, 24 to 33% for women, about a 20% plus deficit is going to be good. And then only when you get into the really athletic ranges should you really worry about a tiny deficit, like somewhere between 10 to maximum 20%, okay? The maximum weekly weight loss is also just a number to help gauge whether or not you're potentially losing muscle as well. Now, when we're talking about the protein requirements, the 18%, I'm not sure where this is coming from, but we should almost never be basing your macros on a percentage of your total calories. It makes no sense, right? Whether you're male, female, if you have more lean mass, less lean mass, it should be either based on your total body weight and or your lean body mass. And a very simple way, there's 3 different ways you can do this. So a very simple way is 1.6 grams up to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. Now, if you're obese, that's going to be still too much. So the second option would be 1.6 up to 2 grams per kilogram of your target body weight. So if you know a weight you're going to get back down to and you're going to stay there, then you can eat within that range based on your potential body weight. Now, if you don't know this is the first time you're ever getting lean and you have no idea what your lowest body weight is going to be, you can also use your lean body mass. So you can get a DEXA scan done, you can go to your gym, get one of those in-body scans where they scan you, right? Close enough's good enough. It'll give you an estimation of your lean body mass. Take your lean body mass, times it by 2.3. That is your protein target for basically the rest of your life until you get down to a much leaner version of yourself. Then you can reassess those numbers again. But at no point should you ever just base your total calories and protein on your total calories, right? It makes no sense, but we kind of work from hierarchy. Protein first, fat second. We want a certain amount or a minimum amount of fat every day. And then you get to fill the rest with carbohydrates. Now think of these as minimum protein targets. You can always eat more protein than this as long as it fits your total calories. Let's keep going.
Doesn't matter if it's calorie counting, intermittent fasting, or keto. Every method works only because it puts you in a deficit.
Correct. Anyone that's gotten you to lose weight as a coach, or anyone who is being successful with weight loss, regardless of whatever they followed, it's because that method got them into eating less than they burn. That is it. Nothing else. There is no magic to it.
No deficit, no fat loss. Step 2, move more. Not by killing yourself at the gym, by walking. Just add 1,000 steps a month until you're at 6,000 to 10,000 daily. Why? Because structured exercise is only 1/4 of the maximum metabolic burn you can get out of physical movement. NEAT, the steps and mindless movements you do all day, is triple that. One workout won't undo 23 hours of sitting and sleeping. Step 3,
Partially correct. So some people have more of a metabolic adaptation to lowering calories, meaning that they just start subconsciously doing less. So less hand movements, less fidgeting, that kind of stuff. That's something you can't really control. You can't sit there and just make yourself fidget. It doesn't work that way. But one thing that you can control is how many steps you get. Right? So every 10 minutes of walking is approximately about 1,000 steps. Now, being armed with this knowledge, a good step target, what I like to recommend for most clients, is somewhere between that 8 to 12,000 steps a day. If you're not getting at least 8,000, you are sedentary. Whether you're training 5 days a week, you're still a sedentary person. So get at least minimum health benefits, get 8,000 steps a day. Now, you can only move so much in the day due to time constraints. Most people work, typically like a 9 to 5 job, unless you're a laborer. The essentials usually go weight training, priority, steps, secondary, cardio, third. Right, so you would always make sure you get your weight training in because that's going to be the most beneficial in terms of building muscle, strength, bone density, keeping you flexible, etc. Right, that gets you the most benefits. Then from there, it's just extra daily calorie burn, and the easiest non-impactful way is usually just getting your steps up over the day. And it doesn't have to be done in one big chunk, it can be spread out throughout the day as well.
Psychology. You have to stick with these 2 steps no matter how the scale fluctuates. If you can't, then your real enemy isn't food, it's your mind. The root cause of this boils down to just 3 blockers. 1, food is your answer to feeling better or to feel really great.
Very interesting conversation. This is an entire video in itself. But yes, people rely on food as an escape, just like people rely on alcohol as an escape or drugs as an escape, right? These habits are usually developed over years and years. Funnily enough, the natural response to stress is to eat less. So if you weren't ingrained with like chocolates, cakes, ice cream as like a pleasurable thing to have to escape your problems, your relationship with food, if you're stressed, your appetite goes down. So arguably, for the most part, eating to make yourself feel better is usually a learned habit. And learned habits can actually be unlearned, but it takes practice.
2, you have beliefs around what being thin could mean for you that you're not at terms with. 3, you don't have a vivid, compelling picture of why you're losing weight beyond the number on the scale or body in the mirror.
I do usually agree with these. So there are self-limiting beliefs in terms of like, I can't achieve this, it's too hard, I'll be missing out on certain things, which is why I like a calorie counting approach, because you get to include these things within moderation, of course, and having a meaningful goal. So you've got intrinsic and external goals. So things that you're doing it for yourself versus you kind of doing this for other people. And I do believe you actually need a little bit of both, right?
It has to go way past skin deep. Fix these or nothing sticks.
Don't necessarily agree just with skin deep. When I first achieved my biggest transformation, so I went from 120 kilos down to a pretty healthy 80-ish kilos. And then the next 10 to 12 kilos that I lost after that, when I got really, really lean, about less than 10% body fat, was pure vanity. And I just wanted to push myself as hard as I can to see how lean I could get. Mostly just purely vanity purposes, right? But arguably the reasons you should be doing this is priority health. And then after health, you keep losing fat based on your personal vanity goals. Do you just want to walk around at 10% body fat? Great, go for it. The diet just has to go for longer. Obviously, it gets harder as you get leaner as well.
Stage 2, optimize. Once you have nailed the foundation for at least 3 months straight, multiply your results with 3 upgrades. Food quality. North Star is 80% whole foods, 20% fun. But it's a North Star. Don't overhaul overnight. Cut one junk or sweet, hold it for 3 weeks, then layer the next. 2, have
I do partially agree with this. So I do think that you should be improving your diet a little bit each time. So to give you an example, I've been doing this 15 years, and one thing I'm trying to do is just add more fiber to my diet currently as we speak. Just because more fiber is good. Doesn't mean I have to overhaul my entire diet, just get an extra 1 to 2 pieces of fruit per day, right? And make it fit within the calorie budget. So little things like that you can still improve on years and years later.
fun in your body. Find a movement you enjoy for 20 minutes a week. Short day hikes, dancing, pickleball, climbing, whatever.
I do believe finding activity that you enjoy the most and or quote unquote hate the least is going to keep you in this the long term.
Nothing is more of a super drug for longevity and mental health than movement, but aim for low impact, medium intensity. Protect your joints while you're still at over 30% body fat for women or over 20% for men. 3, if you're not at 8 to 9 hours of sleep, up your sleep duration by 15 minutes every month until you get there.
This is something I would just recommend straight off day one. Make this one of your utmost important priorities. Everything above that we've spoken about so far is going to hinge on you getting good quality sleep every night. So if I could place sleep in terms of importance of fat loss or getting leaner, I would probably put it right up there, right next to your total calorie intake. Sometimes even more important, because if you don't get enough sleep, you lose more muscle mass, you gain more fat mass, even in the same deficit. You feel crappier. It's harder to stick to nutrition. I would say day one, just figure out a way to get as many hours sleep as possible.
I lied before. Nothing is more of a super drug for fat loss, longevity, and mental health than sleep. Stage 3, breakthrough plateaus. Every 3 to 4 months, your progress will stall.
This is normal.
That's biology, not failure. Break it by experimenting 2 to 3 weeks at a time with one lever. Tweak calories, adjust carbs, up protein, test sensitivities, change workout type, or eat at maintenance.
Now with the plateau, you kind of have to first define what a plateau is. And this is defined as, or at least in my opinion, 2 weeks for men, 3 weeks for women, where there is no changes in measurements and no weight loss, average weight loss. Women, 3 weeks because you have your menstrual cycle, so you have to take into account you may have a week where you may end up a bit more watery and bloated just due to having your period. But men, 2 weeks, no progress. And this is on the fact that you are 100% militant accurate with your nutrition, meaning everything, every single thing is being weighed, tracked, and measured on a kitchen scale and logged in your app, and you have eaten nothing above the recommended. 99% of the time, if I have a client who's going through a stall or a fat loss plateau, it's because they're usually getting lazy with their tracking.
Plateaus aren't the end, they are the process. Now, let's cut through the noise. One diet is superior.
Actually, to touch on that one, these plateaus probably will occur more often if you're starting with a 15% deficit, because then you adapt, because it's such a small deficit, you adapt faster, then you have to take calories down, then you adapt faster, then you take calories down, then you adapt faster. Whereas my method, and how I like to do it, is we start you in a larger deficit, around 30%, and you will almost never adapt, almost being the key word there.
Nope, all work because they put you in a calorie deficit. The difference is only in the lifestyle and skills they demand of you. So the question isn't whether any method works, it's whether it fits you where you're at right now. But what about hormones or slow metabolism? You're more sensitive to changes, but the physics don't change. The sweet spot is just smaller. I need to work out a lot. Nope, you don't need formal workouts for fat loss until 25% body fat for women, 15% for men.
Disagree. You should be weight training from day one. The sooner you can weight train, the more muscle you're going to build, the better you're going to be with your physique, the healthier you're going to be. You should weight train from day one. Do you have to weight train to lose weight? No. Should you? Absolutely yes. The one thing that if you can, the best thing to do is go get a commercial gym membership, depending on where you're from. They're not that expensive these days, and just start getting used to the gym. And the second point to that is it normalizes all of these behaviors. If you are just doing this by yourself, let's say you just woke up today and you're like, I want to lose weight, and you've got a husband or wife or kids, everyone else is just living their best life, still getting their pizza, takeaway, and everything like that, but you are the one that wants to change. It's an uphill battle if no one else in the house is supporting you, right? By going to the gym, it normalizes these behaviors. Going to the gym is a healthy thing. It is a normal thing. If you look at the average of your 5 closest friends, you'll probably all look the same, just like your income. If you look at your income, the people you hang around with will probably have the average income of what you have. You will never see one really, really overweight person hanging out with 5, 6 bodybuilders, right? It just doesn't happen. Same thing with a billionaire, right? You don't have one billionaire hanging out with people who make an average of 100,000 per year. You tend to associate with people who are like-minded. So the more you surround yourself with people who are in the health and fitness industry, and this is honestly one of the best reasons for having someone like me help you through this, not to try and promote my own program, but any coach, right, is because they tell you this is normal, this is what is required, this is how we get the result. If you want to live this level of healthiness and physique development, this is what's required and this is what's going to take to get there. And surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded, it will normalize the process and make things easier to stick to.
Here's the bottom line. Stop torturing yourself. Weight loss is simple. It's not easy because the sweet spot for your body and lifestyle is unique to you. And that's what makes it hard. You need the self-awareness, patience, and critical thinking to identify what fits you specifically. I've coached thousands of people to find their sweet spot, and I can shortcut you to yours. If you want my help, click.
Absolutely agree. So when it comes to finding out what is doable, any progress is better than no progress. So I recently had a comment on one of my videos just the other day, and it was basically a completely free program. It was literally do this and you'll get the result. And there's probably been, at the moment, I think close to 3,000 people who have watched that video. And I've had one person message and comment on that video saying, I did this and I've lost 5 kilos in the last 5 weeks. So you can have all the information and knowledge in the world. You can have the best coach in the world. You can come to me. But unless you actually put the work in, you will get nowhere. And imperfect action will always beat no action every day of the week. So the most important thing is simply to start and start getting progress, and then make the small tweaks as you go along. Now, having said that, at the bottom of this video, if you're interested in this, I do have 4 weeks of free coaching at the time of making this video. So you'll get basically what it's like to work with me for 4 weeks, completely free. It'll be via email. It's a short email course over 4 weeks. And if you follow it, you will get amazing results. And if you have any questions, let me know. And that's pretty much it. Hope you found this informative. And if you have any questions, pop them in the comments. Talk to you soon.